Hi, I'm Alyson Williams and I live in Canberra, the capital city of Australia. And look at the beautiful day she's turned on for me. I'm an empowerment and self-directed self-love strategist and Bling angel. My passion is to empower women to live their best lives by being their best selves. And I believe we do this through self-love. So we're all in different parts of our journey, and wherever we are, there's always room for improvement. So what I do is I walk with you, hold your hand if need be, give you tools, tips and strategies till you have the confidence to fly by yourself, to live that life that you deserve and desire. I hope you'll join me for this series. Each episode will be looking at an area for personal development and growth. Not only good for our general knowledge, but also for our knowledge of ourselves and our self-acceptance. I look forward to your company. So hi everyone, welcome to today's episode. I'm joined by two lovely ladies, Liz Bolton and Corinne Holmes, and today we're going to be talking about grief and loss. Now, I'm a big believer in that you can never compare anything in your life, your experiences, and grief and loss is so personal that it doesn't matter how big or small they are, it's your personal journey and your personal loss. And so, you know, it's your experience and it doesn't matter about anybody else's, it can't be compared and it has to be experienced by you. So as I said, I've got two lovely ladies there. It's a fairly heavy topic, but I've got two awesome upbeat ladies to talk about their experiences with grief and loss. And maybe we can all learn something from them. No, we definitely can learn something from each of them. So I'll just start with Corinne, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then I'll ask Liz to introduce herself, and then we'll come back to you, Corinne.
So hello everyone, and thank you for having me, Alyson. My name is Corinne Holmes. I'm a counsellor and author. I specialise in grief counselling, which is why I guess I'm here, and also mental health support, which is supporting people with depression and anxiety. And author, it means I've written a book, How to Survive a Miscarriage, but I'll talk about that later.
Thanks, Liz.
Hello, and also thank you, Alyson, and lovely to be here with you as well, Corinne. And I am Liz Walton. I'm a fertility coach and I specialise in all things creation. And I really focus on unexplained infertility, working similar to Corinne within the mind and body connection and how we can create a mental and emotional health. And when we look at some of those blocks that don't show, the scars that don't show up under a microscope, magic can happen. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Liz. So Corinne, would you like to tell us about your story, please?
Certainly. So I suffered a miscarriage in July 2011, so quite some time ago. And it really, it might seem small, and maybe it is for a lot of people, but for me, it completely turned my world upside down, mainly because the pregnancy was unplanned or unexpected. So it was sort of like on the horizon, but it wasn't, but it was, and then it happened, and I was just really freaking out. And it was like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. I can't do this. And a lot of back and forth instead of apparently this supposedly, happy moon kind of feelings. I was terrified knowing that I was pregnant. And just as I was getting ready to no, I think we can do this. I got this. Things started to go wrong. I was 6 weeks along and it started bleeding. And what followed then about 4 weeks of back and forth with doctors' appointments and hospital admissions. No one could really tell me what was going on. Is there a heartbeat? Is there not? Is the baby growing? Is it not? And it was just such a crazy, bizarre time even. And then after 4 weeks, after a third ultrasound, I was told that there is definitely no heartbeat and the baby had died. I suffered what is called a miscarriage. So my body tried to sort it out by itself, couldn't. So I needed to go to hospital and have what is called a DNC, so a dilation and curettage.
Yeah,
I think it's called. essentially walking into hospital with a baby in my belly and leaving the hospital without it. And it was traumatic. And I was just stunned. You know, you go to the doctor on Friday morning, or the ultrasound technician, and you're in hospital on the same day. And by 10 o'clock at night, it was all done. So it was, for me, an onslaught of emotions, of thoughts, of trying to process what just happened. I feel that's important to say, I was entirely unprepared. I was unprepared to be pregnant. I was definitely unprepared to lose the pregnancy and to experience grief on such a deep level. Yeah, maybe I was naive. Maybe I was sheltered, I don't know, but it was, for me, my first experience of grief, proper experience. It just knocked me for six. And what I struggled most with was just this, I was so lonely, so lonely. The world kept going on and about its business, and my world stopped and no one noticed. And
Can I just ask, Corinne, I don't mean to interrupt. So you were alone. What about your partner?
he was there as well, and I think that was about it. You get sympathy, but as I then, so because I used to be a journalist when I was young, I started writing, and by accident almost, a whole book eventually came together. And I was talking to a lot of grief moms, and one of the lost moms said to me, so grief lasts longer than sympathy. And that is something that I cannot forget, and it's definitely very true, because the world just keeps moving on and I didn't. Because it wasn't so much the loss of the actual pregnancy of the baby and of what could have been, but also a loss of myself, like a loss of almost identities. Like, who am I if I can't even get this right? That definitely for me sort of, you know, made me plummet into sort of the depth of depression. That loss that was multifaceted, the actual maybe physical loss, but then a harder loss to sort of grasp of who am I, what's the purpose of me being here, what does this mean for the future? You know, can I be a mom? And so it sort of felt like so the whole house of cards just crumbled and came tumbling down, and I did not expect that, to say the least. I did not see that coming, and that took a while to come to peace with it, and then also see that and realize this is not the end. It is part of my story, but it's not the whole story. I still have choice. Like, I still get to choose how I deal with this. I get to choose how I incorporate it into my life. I get to choose what the next step of my story looks like. And that was really the point sort of where things started to turn around slowly for me.
And how did you bridge that gap? How did you get you feeling so devastated and alone and depressed, as you said, to then realizing that, you know what, this doesn't have to be the end of anything, and it doesn't have to be the end of you. It doesn't have to be the identity of you, that there's more. How did you get there?
It took me a really long time, to be honest. And actually that triggered a lot of shame in me, because it's like, why am I not over this? You know, because it's like, why does this take so long for me to process? I felt incredibly ashamed of that struggle in itself, because when you sort of leave, at least when I left the hospital, so I was in a public hospital, they give you a little leaflet or pamphlet and said, oh, just wait maybe at least a month, probably 3 months before you try again, and it should be all good then. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's essentially the message of that leaflet that I received anyway. And so, and after 3 months passed, and I was still miserable, and I was like, why can't I get better? Why am I sad? Why am I still upset? So I felt just wrong. It's like I can't even get better, you know, failing there as well.
So did you feel that really what you had been through hadn't really been acknowledged? The fact that you lost your baby, almost like, this happens, just move on. And that was part of the problem.
To me, it was, certainly. And I think only what helped me sort of become better or different or learn from it is when I reached out to others and realized, oh, actually, I'm not alone. Although within that is its own sort of dangers. But it helped me let go of that shame of like, oh my God, it's actually okay to take as much time as I need, because we're all unique and our stories of grief are unique and they don't follow a timeline except so, and as I mentioned, writing and researching and more writing, but it took me years to sort of go, okay, I think I'm okay, while others sort of seem to and keep on going, but that wasn't me.
Thank you for bringing that up, because it's so important. What you just said is it's a personal journey, and it takes each of us as long as it needs to. For some, it might be, a month. For some, it might be, a year. And whatever it is, it's all okay. It's just about going through the process and giving yourself permission. And like, why do we even need permission? And why do we feel shame? That so upsets me. But, I guess that's part of our conditioning. That's part of the society we live in and part of our social history and whatever the conditioning and all sorts of things. So it is what it is. But I think by bringing it out into the open, as you just have, Corinne, and especially writing your book, I think it allows other people's experiences to be validated. And not that it could be, but somehow we feel the need for that. And I know that that's one of your passions, is to bring this out into the light from the dark. So thank you for sharing your story. And everybody's watching, we will be putting a link for Corinne's book in a slide later on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome woman. I'm so lucky to be surrounded by many awesome women, many of whom we'll meet in these episodes along the way. And now I'd like to turn over to our lovely Liz Walton, who's our fertility coach. And Liz has her own journey and story to share. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you very much. And first of all, Corinne, it's always beautiful to know how we go through our pain, find the journey, find the healing, and I honour your journey and I hear you. So for sharing very much that. And I do think everyone should get her book, because we all have our different journeys and it's how we learn and grow. So well done for sharing an experience, which is in a way also what I'm doing. I'm sharing my personal experience and hoping that people can learn and grow from that too. So yes, I've got my own story, and my story is a fertility story, a fertility journey. And I didn't really start on the journey of trying to get pregnant till I was about 35, 36, with the assumption that it would just happen. And to cut a long story short, it did not for quite some time. And that some time ended up being 10 years. And over that 10 years, I had 6 IVFs, not necessarily all after another, but within that was that grappling. And I remember what you were saying, Corinne, just like, well, who am I if I can't have that? What does that mean? Who am I really if I can't do, what everyone else is supposed to do? So I think within that, doing the medical, the emotional, and the words that we say to ourselves and how we try and rationalize it, that can end up creating such an emotional journey, and in a way that mental health situation, because we do in our own mind have quite a big attack on ourselves. So I was doing everything I could to try and find the answer, try and find the key, what was wrong with me. And I you know, my after having 6 IVFs, realizing, well, it can't always be everything that's outside of me. I need to look at what's inside of me. Now, I would say I had a great upbringing, but there was some stuff that did happen. And some of that stuff, we grow up and we're like, you know, as you say, we feel, oh, I'm okay, you know, I'm totally fine, there's nothing wrong with me. But consciously, we're like, we're fine. Unconsciously, that unconscious mind is going, I'm still in trauma and I still need to be dealt with when you're ready to look at me. And so for me, that was my guiding star of going, I think you need to look inwards and turn on those lights inside. So I then started to do a lot of self-development, really, you know, what's going on? Why is that? And I was already a therapist. And it then opened up to a whole load of things that I hadn't dealt with, which I really needed to, but I didn't think they were such a big issue, but they did create quite a big block in my body. And that's why I say with my clients, you know, stuff happens, and when we shut down, there will be a block. And when we get into high stress, high anxiety, and all of these emotions, we can unconsciously be blocking our own fertility.
Mm.
So what happened? Well, year 8, my lovely sister-in-law got pregnant first time IVF, and it just shattered me. And that again was another shining star. I was just like, look, Liz, the universe has shown you can't get pregnant. Get over it. And it was like, well, how do I do that? How do you, you know, stop doing something you've been struggling to find the key? So with all of those years of self-development and looking at myself, I did actually become a happier, balanced, you know, better individual, still no baby, but I knew then, okay, look, this is, I need to let go. So then I spent a good year on, you know, how do you do that? How do you let go? What is that? And I now know, you know, oh, wonderful things happen when you let go, and it allows the universe to actually set in place a whole load of things. So, and it was then 3 years later, and by that time I was 45, I was feeling very, very ill and assumed, oh my goodness, you know, menopause, that was quick. And I went to get myself sorted out because I really felt quite terrible. And that's when the doctor sort of giggled at me and went, no, you're not going into menopause. Yes, you are pregnant. Of which I realized then I'd done such a great job on myself that I was just like, no, this, I can't be. I've just spent years. This is impossible. So I then did go and have my 12-week scan, and it was so much emotion seeing this little thing there and realizing this is really going to happen. And then within 10 minutes being told, I'm sorry, but because of your age, it's not looking good. I think we've got some issues happening. So that was a really bad day. And again, I would also say the next 2 to 3 months were one of my biggest, deepest spiritual experiences, where I learned that I had to have the most amazing present moment awareness. And how could I deal with that? So I did what the doctors wanted to do, because my husband was very worried. But then I also went and did a lot of, again, self-development and working on what was coming up. And I did this with an amazing woman. So what happened is, in the end, at the age of 46, I was very blessed to have a wonderful baby girl. And from, you know, the beginning to the end, I learned so much from my journey. I healed so much about myself. I grew and moved beyond everything I could even imagine. That, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. So it was, and I think this is where, through all of our traumas and through all of our pain and through all that stuff, that you go, I'm fine. You know, our body remembers, our body keeps the score. And when we give ourselves the opportunity to go, to delve, to look, to honor, and it's amazing what can happen and what you can heal, and then what that can reveal. And it's like you said, Karen, you know, we always have the choice to find peace or not. So that ended up being my story. And because of that, I am now really privileged, and it's such an honor that I can support other women, because those 10 years have given me an amazing blueprint from trying to nothing to the full 10 years, never being told once, twice, thrice, you know, and then to giving up, and then what happens. So it's a beautiful blueprint that I can now support all of my clients with. And I never knew that I could be grateful for a 10-year journey. So it's brilliant. Thank you very much.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Liz and Corinne. As I said, you know, you two ladies are just so inspirational to not just me personally, but I know everybody who knows you knows your story, and not just what you've been through, but how you've come through it. And I know, Corinne, you're now blessed to have two gorgeous little girls. So, you know, you've got two. Liz, you've got a beautiful daughter, and I'm lucky to have a daughter as well. And so having children is awesome if you can. But obviously, you know, Liz and Corinne are here to tell you that even if you can't, there's still always, you know, another option that's just as doable, hard albeit. And so instead of me trying to put words in their mouth, why don't I ask them directly? So Liz and Corinne, what is the message that you would like to give to people listening to this who might be going through or may have gone through some of your story of grief and loss?
Corinne, you go first, my lovely.
Thank you. I think for me, it's a message of hope, because there is hope, even if it seems unlikely, because it does come back, as I mentioned, and Liz also said, to choice. We always have a choice. Like, what do I do with this pain? What do I do with this grief? Do I let it define me, or do I incorporate it into my life and then see what else is actually possible for me? And I think important for me to also say, if we stay with couples or people that will end up with no children, that grief won't leave you, but that's okay. There is still hope, and there is still power in working on yourself and owning your story, because we need more stories of loss. We need more stories of grief for to help other people. Like, our stories can heal others. So that's again where hope for me comes in. So even if the ending is unexpected, that's not the end of your life or of your journey at all. And there is still so much power and so much for you to give. I would encourage absolutely everybody to do the work so you can own your story and tell it so you can help others.
That's beautiful. And I also like the fact that, you know, we were talking about your identity doesn't have to be that you're a mother or you're not a mother. Identity is who you are as a person. Are you a decent human being? Do you make the world a better place by being in it? To me, that is really what defines us. Whether you have children or not is irrelevant. And I know people who don't have children of their own, but they are like mothers or fathers to the whole of humanity because of their beautiful hearts and souls. And so that is really, you know, to me, what is much more powerful. And I don't think I'm alone in feeling like that. But anyway, thank you. Liz, what is the lesson or the message that you would like to give people?
I suppose, well, the thing I'd like to leave with is that in our trauma, in our pain, in our journey, when we go into that middle part is such treasure, because who we are is the treasure that we need to look for. And if we can let go of the labels, you know, everything that we are, what remains, and I believe what remains is just pure love. And if we can go out with that, if we can find our peace with where we are now, and we can come into alignment, things that you wouldn't imagine can come into place that can allow you to live a really happy, wonderful, amazing life. And when we stop looking over here, because it you know, that's not an option, and life is there going, but I'm here, please see me, life, I'm right here to give you an amazing life, you know. And for me, I know I had to let go of her, then I could see. So there is an amazing life, and find the peace that is right for you. And there's treasure, and you're that treasure, so please do find it.
That's a beautiful way to end. But for people watching, if you'd like to reach out to Liz or Corinne and do some work with them and get Corinne's book, here is their contact details. So I hope you can see that quite clearly. Can you see that clearly, Liz and Corinne?
I can.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Let me just move that out of the way. So we've got, and I'll just leave that up for a little bit, but if you're watching this on the television, you can definitely take a screenshot or some other way by which you can capture this, these information about these beautiful women. So Corinne is Karin, Holmes, Holmes, and Liz is Liz Walton, as in the Waltons on TV, although I'm probably showing my age now. So yeah, reach out to these ladies, and thank you for being here. I'll just stop the share. And because I'm a Bling angel, something I love to do is pull out a Bling card. And this is from our inspiration deck. And today's thought is go through, not around. How amazing is that? It's always the right card. And this one says to go through, not around. Because
so true.
When you go through, that's, as Liz says, you know, where you really come into your own. And that's where the whole essence of who you are is. So ladies, thank you for being my guests today. Thank you for sharing your amazing stories. And thank you
for having us.
My pleasure. And thank you for sharing your beautiful selves with the world. The world needs you both. The world needs us all. So the more we get out there and share ourselves and let people know what we've been through, and maybe we can help them too. So thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you too. You take care. Red love.
So I hope you enjoyed that episode. I wonder, what were your takeaways? Did you find any nuggets of value there? Anything you can apply to your life? Did you discover something new about yourself? Come and join us next episode, where we discover and uncover more of the magical mysteries that life brings us. Till then, it's Alyson Williams, Empowerment and Self-Directed Self-Love Strategist and Bling Angel. Bye.